I need support staff to clear the room. Stand up and walk, now.
Hello and welcome to The Watch. My name is Chris Ryan. I am an editor at TheRinger.com, and joining me in the studio with some definitive takes on best laboratory safety practices, it's Andy Greenwald!
Sorry, I was just checking the updated CDC guidance.
Yeah.
It's changing in real time.
Do you know what would be sick is if you were Morrow from Alien Earth and your hand could just do anything and you could just like get a COVID vax? Just
to myself? Honestly, I would tell myself it's the COVID vax, but then just, we're good.
Greenwald,
Hey,
it's
man.
Thursday. What's up, brother? We are here to talk about The Paper. First season dropped on Peacock. That's the new show, very much in the Office universe, and we're going to talk a lot about that today. We'll also talk about the fifth episode.
Can you believe it?
Fifth episode of Alien Earth. I think we have
Time flies when you're not having
3
fun.
left, and it was a big one, so we'll discuss that. There's a couple trailers, and we both saw separately, but in spiritually together, a film called Caught Stealing, which we might discuss a little bit at the end there.
Mm-hmm. What about the fact that it's opening day for our NFL champion
Our
Philadelphia
returning
Eagles?
champs. I just feel so zen.
I know, it's great, right?
I feel very much at peace. Do you feel at peace?
Yes.
Because I don't know if you know how to just be chill about football.
Evidence would suggest I don't. I think that's fair.
So we lose a trap game. We lose to the sorry guys, we're talking about the Eagles.
You
If we
start
lose
with a trap game? What are you, M. Night Shyamalan?
Well, because it's Parsons trade, Cowboys, nobody believes in us.
It's our banners going up.
Yeah,
Clearly
we're
we'll win.
distracted,
We're at home. They're
blah,
not
blah,
good.
blah. Yeah, right.
Dak
Exactly.
throws for 4,000 yards tonight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We lose. Will you say what?
Get out of my house. I mean, I should say I'm hosting. So I have to be on my best behavior.
You're so adorable too, because it's like, it's not just like, you guys want to come over for the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's, would you like to come to mi casa for tacos and cervezas? Like,
It gotta be me. I gotta
You do.
entertain a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to make it worth everyone's while.
Yeah.
I'm gonna check and be topping up your glass, wearing a little maid's outfit. It'll be great. It'll be great. By the way, it's also 3 people. So it's really not that.
I know.
And you, for the record, have declared. So, okay, let me say this. I think I will be very calm until 5:21 p.m. Pacific time. And then all bets are off.
Yeah.
But I do feel pretty good, and we did win. So I'm not going to be that guy, at least until
I've
mid-season.
decided that, you know how Sirianni's, they're not going to go out on the field for the banner. I'm going to go stand outside of your house.
Just look at the mountains for a while.
That's the past. That's the past, man.
That's right.
We are going to talk a lot about the past on this podcast, though.
I just want to put you on the
such a
record,
good
though.
segue.
It was
Okay.
really good. I'm sorry. You can run it. You can say it again.
Okay.
Pretend that happened. I mean, keep this. This is gold. But you said that you would not be second screening the game tonight. You would just be focused on...
Yeah, I'm not looking at Twitter or Reddit tonight.
Football, friends, family, and faith.
One of the most profound major sport off seasons for me. I think. Obviously, a time of great personal change. And I do feel connected to the Phillies. I do.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time with them in their backyard recently.
But nothing gives my week structure like football.
Yeah.
It's not even that I care about developments in offensive strategy and what Kingsbury's going to do this. I mean, I care about all of it. It's what I live for. But, I would literally die if Cliff Kingsbury left the NFL. No, but it's just the there it is. Sunday, Thursday, Monday.
Sure.
And I really appreciate the backbone it gives.
The cadence.
Yeah, and as an only child, I like turning on the TV when I come home and watching a little football. And
because the alternative is crushing loneliness. Should we close our laptops and talk about that?
But it does actually bleed into what I wanted to talk to you about today.
Okay. Bleed is also a good segue for Alien, but we had other stuff.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about The Paper.
Uh-huh.
And this is the new series from Greg Daniels, who adapted The Office for United States audiences from Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant. And then that show obviously spawned a sort of Mike Schur extended universe. Mike Schur worked on The Office, then went on to do Parks and Rec and The Good Place, et cetera. And was The Office was obviously the springboard for a lot of huge careers when you look back. At those two shows in particular, Parks and Rec and The Office,
incredible
are responsible for a lot of stuff. And it's Greg Daniels and Michael Coman, who worked on Nathan For You, doing this show, The Paper, which is connected to The Office in one specific way, or two specific ways. It is the same film crew that followed Dunder Mifflin around for all those years. And Oscar Nunez, who is the Oscar from The Office, has now turned up at a Toledo...
Well, it's the same company. So there's the third.
It is like this sort
of connective tissue.
And then there is a corporate kind of chain of events that lead, Dunder Mifflin to owning a newspaper, which makes sense.
Well, the company that owned...
Yes.
So to be clear, we are... I don't think any of this matters, really, because you're not watching this for spoilers, but there was actually more The Office DNA right from the jump than I expected.
Yes.
Not just the Chiron about 20 years ago, this documentary crew did this, but that the first person on screen is Bob Vance from Vance Refrigeration back in the Scranton office park, and then sort of unspooling the story of what happened.
As somebody who did not rewatch The Office 3 times during COVID, a lot of that stuff was lost on me, I think.
The Bob Vance Refrigeration?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say that I too was surprised by the connective tissue.
I should say I have been doing an Office rewatch. Well, so I did some Office rewatching.
I know your kids, right?
Last year for the lauded and much missed Stick the Landing podcast.
Dude, you make fun, but you should see our inbox. It's very much
I thought it's just all just doctors saying the pit was very good.
No.
So I did rewatch some of the highlights, the best episodes for that, and that was a great experience. Had a fun podcast with our buddy Rembert about it. But yeah, my younger daughter has been enjoying The Office. The issue with rewatching The Office, if I may, is that there were a lot of episodes. And cherry picking is hard if you don't have if you don't remember, or you're not looking at some Reddit guide to the key episodes. So you do end up being oh, I remember this Christmas two-parter from season 3 being very good. But then you also forget when you do that this two-parter was from 2006, 2007, and the plot is Michael is depressed after a breakup. So Andy Bernard, newly arrived from Stanford, Ed Helms, takes him to lunch at Benihana, which he calls Asian Hooters, and then they flirt with and then go home with 2 waitresses, and then the joke is that Michael can't tell them apart because they're Asian.
Yeah.
So congratulations, America.
We've come so far.
It was jarring to be sharing my culture, my generation's culture with my children. Anyway, the DNA of that show was
Were your
much
kids
more present.
What's Hooters?
Weirdly, no.
Okay.
So maybe I should circle back on that. So I was in the vibe of this world, and when I fired up the show again, this show.
You mentioned, rewatching it. I know that a lot of people, when they've rewatched The Office, just kind of have it on in the background. They'll put when it was on Netflix or when it's on Peacock, and they just will have The Office sort of continuously playing while they're making dinner or while they're doing stuff or whatever, or they'll just sit down and watch 3 episodes of The Office. You used to recap The Office.
The later seasons.
But as part of the Thursday night kind of recap of all the shows that were on Thursday night.
Once again, I volunteered to do that.
It was a great idea.
Thanks.
And it also kind of reminded me of what we used to make things in this country stuff, where it's there used to be a kind of let's all gather around feeling with these Thursday night comedies. Do you
think that portions of those recaps where I recapped Up All Night, the Will Arnett, Christina Applegate, We Had a Baby sitcom have aged well?
That I got to tell you something.
Yeah. I just said words that made no sense to you, right?
I remember that.
Yeah.
But that's crazy that was a show. I mean, I just that completely had left my brain until you said that.
The 8:30 and 9:30 slots of NBC comedy lineups are like that. It's absolute Mandela effect craziness. Was that really a television show?
Because I remember one where, wasn't there a show that they did for a while that the whole point was, it was either that it was live or that it was improv, but it was a sitcom about guys hanging out, but it was guys trying to get dates. God, I feel like it was there was some twist to it.
Guys trying to get dates.
They were hanging out at a bar. Never mind. It doesn't matter. My point was more that
just looking October 2011, I would rank the shows for this night of October 14th. Community was the best episode of the night. That was a good episode. Remedial Chaos Theory.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Parks and Rec was second that night. The Office was third, and Whitney bring it in the rear.
There was Whitney, yeah.
Good God. Okay, sorry. This is a little memory lane-ish. Go on. Some people watch it in different ways.
What was my point? My point was that The Paper has been binge dropped.
Yes.
On a streaming service. Now, it has been advertised. I think it got a lot of press. I think the reviews have been affectionate, but sort of like, well, but that's
critics.
Most critics are like that. What did you think of the show?
Bunch of Poindexters.
And what did you think of the show's delivery?
I watched 3, and I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it. I was prepared to, I think we said this the other week, I was prepared to judge this on a curve because I think that sitcoms are hard to launch from full stop before they get rolling and before they figure out.
And the guys behind The Office and Parks and Rec they are very vocal about like, I wish we could just throw the first 10 out. You know?
And here they literally have dropped the first 10.
Yeah. And this show has been renewed for a second season.
That I thought that was an incredible, for as much as like the switching up the delivery system, if you like right at the end felt a little panicky, the confident renewal was worth the money. Like even if it was like we need to do this to head off criticism or to sort of massage how people receive the show, because shows have been unrenewed before. I thought that was really a smart move because judging by the first 3 episodes, this is remarkable, to my mind, remarkably ahead of the curve. And it shows not just the durability of the structure and the format, but particularly the just like, this guy's just a ball player skill set of Greg Daniels. Like there is such a assured confidence to the casting, toward the structure, to the joke writing, to the vibe that I found so welcoming. But I gotta say, more than welcoming, I was just laughing. I thought that some of the joke writing in these first 2 episodes...
It was very effective.
Exceptional joke writing.
Yeah.
The idea, I mean, I think we were all, especially like, hardened media vets like us over here, were like, why are you doing a newspaper show in 2025? The opening credits make it clear that this is just like a newspaper that is used on the bottom of cafeteria trays, that 2/3 of the floor is a toilet paper company. And he's like, I'm here to meet about the paper. And they say news or toilet.
Right.
Effective. And then also in a way that I thought was incredibly clever, like casting people, a mix of like Tim Key, who is a very familiar British comedian figure, worked with Steve Coogan, that guy for people who watch these sorts of shows. I'm like, oh, not only is he Ricky Gervais, Steve Carell-ish, he's reliably funny in a very specific way that stands out. Sabrina Impacciatore, who we know from White Lotus, is just on tilt from the beginning.
Yeah.
She's phenomenal. She's so funny. She's fully alive in a broader way. And then you backfill with actors who I've never seen before, like Chelsea Frey, who is somehow doing just doing yeoman's work as the Jim and the Pam of the show and crushing it. And I just felt so instantly at home that I can't wait to watch more, and I'm glad it's renewed.
Do you think it's fair or inevitable that we're just going to compare different characters from The Paper to characters in The Office?
It's inevitable in the beginning, and I think they seem to know that. I also thought it was interesting that for as much as this is a direct cousin of The Office, it does have an interest in local community and local doings and just the nature of doing good in a fallen world that was the defining feature of Parks and Rec. And I think that folding in some of that DNA, even though Mike Schur is not involved with the show, feels good, and I think helps make the show feel less claustrophobic than it might otherwise, but also might
like if they were just like, we're in this newsroom all the time playing pranks on each other. Yeah.
I also think that it eventually will help head off a criticism that I've already noticed. Like, look, I had to do it, and I have a lot of empathy for the people who had to do it this week. Reviewing the first few episodes of a new comedy is a really challenging thing. You're inevitably going to have to scratch your chin about something because it's not working yet, because the reason sitcoms succeed is because you are in love with the characters. And then you rewatch it and you're like, see, I always knew I was right about Coach and Nick or whatever, but like you didn't necessarily know that at the beginning. It can kind of feel like a forced meet cute early on the sitcom. But some of the criticisms I've seen about the show are, it gets certain things right, like the will they or won't they, or the vibes or the jokes, the setting, but what's it really going to be about? And that is a very contemporary TV question.
Yeah.
When The Office launched, everyone could tell what it was about. It was about weirdos in an office. The idea that something has to be about something else in order to justify its place in our streaming economy and our minds is something that Parks and Rec was ahead of the curve on. And so maybe this emerges more later in the season, but this show is set up to have a season-long arc or a and a Gary's Old Town Bar newspaper
also
like Cheers did or whatever.
Clearly like a wide open gate to bring in tons of different characters and stories and then cycle them out after a couple of episodes. I mean, you're right. It has the structure for as much as like, I saw Sepinwall, and Alan Sepinwall, great TV critic, wrote about in Rolling Stone. He compared like trying to revive the American sitcom while also trying to revive American newspapers, like local newspapers.
Sure.
And he was like, they're both like, those are Sisyphusian tasks, both. But I really didn't trip over any of the journalism stuff. And I actually thought like, they very quickly kind of give you a sense of like, this is essentially like a dead internet clickbait factory with tons of pop-up
really
ads
funny.
and stuff. And I enjoyed the comedy of it, and I enjoyed the setting of it, and I enjoyed like the heart of it. The only thing I tripped over was the impetitor character.
Really? I thought you were going to say something else because the only thing I tripped on was another character. Oh, you go first.
I think that's just one of, and I've watched 4 of them. And I do think that is one where they're just going to dial her in more. But she seems like almost like on a different planet, much less a different show. Now, part of that is just she is a flamboyant, wonderful Italian comic actress.
Yes.
Who has great physical instincts and all these other things, all these other attributes. But I think that the way that her character is designed to be like, kind of like the Emperor Palpatine of the show is, I just find it a little bit tonally off or like not to my tastes or whatever. But I think that is the kind of thing that season 2, this kind of show has shown before that like, they're like, okay, we can get this equalized on the board soon. I think that might even happen later in the season. I just haven't gotten there yet.
The comp for her, interestingly, is not someone in The Office. It's Ava from Abbott Elementary. In terms of like someone who just is so clearly not deserving of the responsibilities she possesses at the beginning of a series.
Yes.
And is behaving in a flamboyant manner that makes sense in her universe, but no one else's. I hear you on that. I just find her so funny. Like there's a scene in the 3rd episode when she doesn't notice that Mara's behind her and she says, I'm sorry, how long are you sitting there? I thought you were a stack of shirts or a pile of shirts. She says, the woman who was named after a horse. I love it. For me, the thing that the show hasn't figured out, interestingly, is the lead. Donald Gleason, a great actor.
He plays a character named Ned who, through some nepotistic means, winds up finding himself becoming the editor-in-chief of the Toledo Truth Teller.
And someone who inexplicably is obsessed with classic journalism and wants to be a journalistic hero in an era when that is over with and like has a typewriter and all these things. He's a great actor. And I like him in anything. And I think that the people who made the show considered this a huge get because he is so versatile. And comedically memorable in the way he presents and like his physicality and everything.
Especially in Rise of Skywalker, yeah.
I mean, to do what he did across those 3 movies is genuinely like that. Even the Russian acrobatics judge would give it a 10. That character, I think, is the one thing that they clearly haven't figured out.
Oh, wow.
Because is he, I'll use the same language that we were using for other characters. Is he Michael Scott or is he Jim? Is he noble or is he Leslie Knope? Is he, noble and good in a way that is
an idealistic
in a world where that he eventually gets everyone onto his side, or is he like a weird gangly nepo baby, and I don't think that's how they're playing him, but it doesn't quite find its balance yet between like leading man, central comedic character. Maybe again, this is part of the reviewing comedies, like. These casts are solar systems that take a minute to find their gravitational pull. And I trust this team to say, we're excited with what we have and to see how these energies play off of each other. But his role through the first 3 was the one, it's nominally a hero's arc, but that was the one that I felt was the most muddled.
Interesting. What did you think of the kind of, the will they or won't they plot that is like, clearly they will, it
felt sped up.
Yeah.
But again, I think they thought about that, right? Like I think that part of making TV shows at this particular moment is understanding that you've never been making shows for a more self-aware or educated or TV literate audience.
And impatient.
Right. So you can't run from these things. I mean, the best shows of the last few years have gone straight at it, you know, and then maybe they come up with some ways to stall it. Like rewatching The Office, the lengths that they went, because I think they were to keep Jim and Pam apart, because I think they were still operating under which I think is actually false, but the like Sam and Diane fallacy that like the show's over once they're together. Now, did them getting together effectively neuter their growth as characters once they both decided to continue working at the Scranton office park until the show was canceled? Yes. But that did not happen.
Jim became an agent, right?
Oh, he and Daryl started like some sort of sports management in Philadelphia.
Because he was always on the train. Remember?
He was always commuting, yes.
He was always commuting.
And Pam went to art school. Like there was no way to keep that on the rails for long. But them getting together, like, it got 5 seasons worth of good stuff even after, and them getting together was epic and fantastic.
Yeah.
But,
because in the beginning of The Office, Pam has a boyfriend, right? She has a fiance.
Oh my God. Yeah, they've been engaged for 3 years.
That's right.
The great David Denman, who you just saw in Peacemaker.
I did just see him in Peacemaker. He's also, he was in,
Roy.
He's in, what? God damn it! Why I can't even remember the name of the movie now.
Oh, I saw him in that movie.
Jeremy Saulnier movie.
Yeah, he was in Rebel Ridge.
Rebel Ridge, yeah.
He was very good in Rebel Ridge. I gotta say, he was great in that.
He's also in 13 Hours, the Benghazi movie,
isn't it? You know, I missed that one. The James Gunn. Speaking about Peacemakers, because he was married to Jenna Fisher when she was doing those scenes with Roy, and he's like, I always liked that guy who was kissing on my wife. We'll bring him back. It's cool. It's Hollywood, baby. His current wife is making out with John Cena in the show.
I know.
That's beautiful.
I know.
Don't be judgy. Come on.
Have you seen John Cena's promotional run for the Peacemaker?
What do you mean?
He's like a coffee expert. He's like a really he's a real Renaissance man. He talks about how you can judge a coffee shop's coffee by how they make a flat white.
That's his go-to to test it, because it requires demonstrating the artistry of pulling shots, but also milk
That's
work.
exactly what John Cena said.
He and I have many things in common.
Would it be amazing if John Cena replaced me on this podcast?
And would we tell anyone? That would be amazing. You know? I think the tell would be like, the listeners being like, man, CR really cares a lot about coffee now. Yeah. That would be the only thing.
And I took over the CDC.
There you go. Well, that seems more likely. By the way, how many more episodes of Peacemaker have you knocked down?
I haven't. I mean, that is a show that comes out weekly, and I may continue. I saw James Gunn teased there will be big cameos at the back end of the second season.
Do you see he announced
and
a new Superman
also
movie.
Like, there's a Superman movie coming in 2027. Yeah.
That's real soon, guys.
Yeah.
Like, that means they're shooting it imminently.
I think early next year.
Probably why Cornswood was not eating the British snacks in that Lad Bible thing that I saw, because he's got to maintain.
Yeah.
He couldn't slip, but he also couldn't say that he was making another Superman movie that fast.
Yeah.
But that's good. That's kind of the movie version of what we were asking for in TV. Like, get the seasons renewed. Like, let's make them.
Well, I'm curious whether or not, obviously I would imagine that the paper, if it's being renewed on its first day of release, which is sort of an HBO thing, where you wait for it to come out and then you're like, we're so happy with it. It's renewed. I imagine that this is always the plan.
Yeah, but I think
Peacock doesn't have a lot of franchises, and The Office is kind of...
They need it to work, but I do think it was smart. That was playing the expectation game and the media game well. Because I think people do... Anything helps to get people to watch something new, even if it is structurally or formally familiar. The sense that there's more coming does help people, I think, commit. I just think that there were aspects of the show, like, when did we stop valuing expertise in this country? Oh, I remember January. In the sense that, like, who directed this season of the paper? I mean, Greg Daniels himself,
yes.
but like the Office veterans, like Paul Lieberstein, who is Greg Daniels' brother-in-law, but also was Toby on The Office and was a showrunner. Ken Kwapis, Jason Wallner, who did
tons of Modern Family stuff. Yeah,
they've done this stuff before, and then also Yana Gorskaya, who did What We Do in the Shadows. Tazbeh Chavez, who I think worked on Res Dogs. Like, they got people who knew how to do this, and then they also did things behind the camera that I appreciate, like Alex Edelman, who's a stand-up comedian and plays a funny character named Adam in the show, is also a writer and producer on the show. He's not the only one. I'm just looking at the cast list.
But that's like also that's always been the Greg Daniels DNA, is to kind of mix people's roles up and give people kind of different things to
create
do.
things and be writers as well and shape it. And then just the small little details, like Alan Havey, who has had a long career as a stand-up and is on Mad Men, is crushing it in these small parts. Is it Nancy Lenehan? Yeah, Nancy Lenehan, who you remember from like 100 movies, plays his secretary and has like one scene in the third episode. And I'm like, that's very funny.
Yes, right.
That she's there. That's her doing it. That's great. And the sense of like building out that community with people who you're excited to see, including official friend of the podcast, Tracy Letts.
Oklahoma's own.
By the way, I gave you a hard time for gatekeeping that relationship.
I wasn't gatekeeping it.
No, okay, sure. There was just like, I'm like, who are you texting? You're like, nobody. I'm like, wait. You're like, oh, it's just my friend Tracy Letts.
It was me and Tracy being like, did you see this Italian crime-filled film called like, I Will Shoot You in the Face and Then Talk to You Later?
It's better when Sabrina Impacciatore says it. The context didn't matter. I was just like, oh, this is someone who we admire, Pulitzer Prize-winning playwright Tracy Letts. And then you're just like, that's my text pal. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. But then you gifted the gift of gab.
He asked. Yeah.
That was very nice.
Yeah.
So now I can be like friend of the pod.
Yeah.
That felt good.
Absolutely. I would love to have Tracy on.
So
talk about sandbaggers.
But also, isn't he a big Eastern Gate guy?
Huge Eastern Gate. He is the gatekeeper of Eastern Gate.
The Eastern Gatekeeper. Yeah. It's right there.
Did you see there's like 5 stories right now that are like, this is Eastern Gate?
Yes.
Like,
what did Trump say about troops in Poland?
6 right-wing German politicians all died the month before the election.
Yeah, or Trump's like, yeah, more troops in Poland if they want. That's so sick.
He's a big if they want guy, Trump.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want, sure.
You know who else was like that? My grandmother. You do what you want. You always do. This is what she would say. That was a classic thing. Anyway, we're getting off topic only to say, I feel I'm very bullish on this show. I loved watching it. I'm very happy it's here.
Yeah.
And I just think that it is a specific feeling that is hard to capture in a review, but the enthusiasm and the warmth of like, oh, this is a thing that can grow. This has been planted and there's something coming up here was exciting.
I think that I think it's good that in retrospect, or not in retrospect, but after having watched half the season or a chunk of the season, knowing that it's renewed, I think it's wise that they put the 10 episodes up. I think if that pilot had gone up, it could easily get lost to the chatter just around like, oh, football's back and like there's all this other stuff happening and it's just like, well, yeah, and then next week one more episode of the paper will be up.
No,
it was always going to probably be a batch and then weekly after that. But I think that now this will be there. People can catch up with it. People can watch it at their leisure. And then maybe the second season becomes a little bit more of an event.
I am generally a week-to-week person, but I just feel like this was smart for NBC, Universal, Peacock to be like, we're in the business of Greg Daniels working in this world.
Yes.
And so we are not going to be short-sighted about it. We're going to trust the people, the person we hired and the way he hires to do something special here. And it is a weird example of foresight, honestly, because famously The Office was, after the first 5 or 6 episodes, people are like, what is this? The British one is better. This is never going to work. Parks and Rec, first 5 or 6 episodes, famously,
she's annoying,
kind of weak.
Yeah,
did not understand its lead character. Retooled, figured it out. It would have been a shame if they had. First of all, I think this is ahead of schedule, but I think it would have been a shame if they had given up on it too early.
It comes at a time, as we enter into September here. That is going to be extraordinarily busy over the next couple of weeks in television. And that's another reason why I think it was probably just it was smart for them to kind of get all their stuff up. And I actually do wonder if folks at Peacock took a look at what was coming out. Not that like these shows necessarily are going to be like Summer I Turned Pretty Big and take away all the oxygen, but...
Controversial episode.
It was a controversial episode. It was a strange piece of what a lot of people are saying was like trying to sort of rehabilitate the Jer character.
Oh, we are talking about it. I thought you were continuing to move on.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. I have something. Okay, go on.
Did you watch it?
Of course not. I've never seen a frame of it. But
Okay.
What I did experience...
You are the king of like, I don't know what we're talking about, but I have a strong opinion.
That's why I succeed in this fractured media economy.
I know.
That's my secret sauce. I don't watch any of this shit. No, but I was driving the girls back from their annual physical doctor's appointment, and my older daughter was reading the epistolary, like after like the last part of the third book, where Belly is in España.
No,
in the books.
In the
I know, the show is Paris.
Yeah,
they changed it.
She finds the only 4 nice people in Paris.
That's incredible.
To hang out with.
Did you ever meet any of them? No. You didn't. She's in Spain, and so she's reading.
My last memory of Paris is going to this cocktail bar called Combat and being like, "Here we are," and it was like 6, so no Parisians or drinking, and they're empty bar. Mm-hmm. You can sit over there in the corner, like on a stool, like all the way over there.
It was good though that when you went to Paris, you went to Paris between London stops.
Yeah.
So I saw you before you went, and I was like, "How's it going?" And you're like, "It's pouring rain and everyone's mean." And then you came back into the warm, beery bosom of the big smoke.
And I was like, "I miss Paris."
Suddenly, you're like, "Why is everyone so nice to me? I don't trust this." No, but she was reading these letters that are from the book that what's his name, Conrad writes, and like they're just constantly like, "You don't have to write back. I get it. I'm just going to keep writing you. You're probably dating some like motorcycle driving guy named Benito with a ponytail." And I'm just like, this seems a little like boundaryless. You know what I mean?
Is
like,
that how your daughter read the letters?
No, she was like, "This is so romantic."
Yeah.
I was like, "This is how they get you." I pulled over to the side of the road.
Toxic masculinity.
Exactly.
They just tried to do a lot. It was a very Jer-heavy episode, considering what the people really want. You know?
You are the voice of the people.
I'm an avatar. I'm a conduit. They speak through me.
It's beautiful.
I was just saying that September is a very busy month for television. I thought I'd do a little bit of a preview for the folks.
That's cool.
Obviously, Paper, Alien, those are the things we're talking about today. And Task comes on Sunday.
Here we go.
I will say that I have watched the first episode of Task. And it's everything I ever wanted from a television show.
Say it into the camera. So
it's everything that I ever wanted from a television show.
Great.
It is 2 dudes on a collision course with each other and Rita's water ice.
Now, I wish it was John's.
Yeah.
As a water ice purist.
Yeah. Do you like black cherry?
That's not my preferred flavor now. You ever had the chocolate ice from John's?
The what?
The chocolate water
I have
ice?
not. And I typically do not like chocolate water ice.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
But John's also has a nice assortment of fresh fruit flavors in the summertime.
Yo, I went to a place in Fishtown called 1-900 Ice Cream.
Yeah, I've been talking about this place.
That went crazy. They went crazy.
They snapped.
Yeah. You dropped something, King. This ice cream cone.
What flavor did you get?
A vanilla chocolate soft serve swirl.
Yeah. Did they dip it?
With Heath bar topping in... I had almond. My wife had dark chocolate dip.
I like the dip. They do some crazy sandwiches and stuff too.
They do, yeah.
Do you? Well, we'll circle back. I was going to bring up some slang that the kids are using these days. But like, do you remember all the slang that we read? Remember when we read Marlon James' great book, Brief History of 7 Killings?
Yes.
And the entire book is written in like thick 1970s Jamaican patois.
You and I did not use that slang though.
No. We're reading this book and we're like, wow, this is really
that was sort of our Asian Hooters moment. You and I walking around.
Just reading the
being
book.
Like Brief History of 7 Killings slang.
Do it. I dare you.
I dare you.
You don't need to dare me because however many years later.
I've got more to lose at this point.
Junior, you told me before we filmed that you have nothing to lose anymore. You are a stateless actor. You are Tom Hanks in The Terminal right now. The junior high of Los Angeles, they say gyat. They are using Jamaican slang.
Yeah.
How are we going to get in front of this?
I mean, I think that train left the station.
Yeah, but we didn't get the alert. You know what I mean?
Amtrak was down that day.
Thanks, Sleepy Joe. No Amtrak alerts.
The Paper, Alien Earth Task, which rules, and we'll be talking about extensively on Monday. And then when we get into mid to late September, we have The Lowdown, which we talked about last week.
Very
the
exciting.
Ethan Hawke, Sterling Harjo show set in Oklahoma about a conspiracy-addled...
Truthstorian.
Yeah. Who goes down a rabbit hole trying to uncover a conspiracy in Oklahoma. English Teacher is back. House of Guinness. My scouts are out and they are checking it out. House of Guinness comes from Stephen Knight, stars Anthony Boyle from Say Nothing, and is basically Succession about the start of Guinness, right?
Quite a popular beverage these days.
Slow Horses is back.
That's wild.
Again.
Great.
There is a Jessica Chastain show.
The Savant.
That I'm kicking the tires on.
Okay.
I'm thinking about taking it for a test drive. We'll see if the salesman lets me go past a block, you know?
Well, I think that you have a relationship with that dealer, right? The Chastain dealership?
I do. Sean, it says Fantasy's Chastain dealership outside on the sign.
There's no way to continue this joke.
If something's working out, if there's a new model, they save me a test drive.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then the Gold is coming back in early October.
That's been interesting because the Gold has been out in the UK, and so people were wondering why we were ignoring it.
Yeah, they were like, this rules.
It is not.
On September 18th, a show that I really, really need you to be a part of is Black Rabbit.
Oh, that is the Jude Law,
Jason
Bateman. One of them is like restaurants.
It's
in New York.
Basically like, what if a guy owned Schiller's?
Go on.
Or the what was the Spotted Pig?
Mm-hmm.
That guy got canceled. Not that
sure
guy,
did.
But like that type of place.
Like a hot spot.
And it's a lot of restaurant shit in the show.
It's good for me.
And then a Bad Brother comes back, but not the Bad Brother like the restaurant that we like.
Oh, why'd you tell me that? Like if it was just like then Nick shows up and it's like, how you guys doing?
This has been a very local.
No one's in the room with us.
It's the Philly special.
Kai
episode.
is on vacation. Kai just wanted to give us some space today. So nobody's checking us.
He's cutting the cameras.
He's cutting the cameras right now?
Yeah, he's Thelma Schoonmakering.
Wow.
Anyway, I think it's going to be a really cool month, but that's a lot of television to fucking watch.
That was so sweet. That was so pure. I think it's going to be a really cool month, guys. Just don't worry about getting your booster shots. It's going to be a cool month.
You want to talk about Alien Earth?
Yeah, I do.
That was the best episode of this series about the dumbest fucking characters I've ever seen in my life.
That's very well said.
Do
you want to quote the show? This is proof how stupid smart people can be.
You have to basically, and I got to tell you something.
Yeah, please.
Noah Hawley went on House of R, and Bobby Cisse went on House of R. Cool interview. You should definitely check it out. Mal and Joe and Rob have been breaking down the show all season, and I've heard him on that episode. I heard him talk a little bit on, I believe, the official Alien podcast. And when I say I heard, I read aggregated quotes from his official Alien podcast, where he's getting a little flip about like other Alien movies, specifically Prometheus and Covenant, which he's referring to now as like alternative fiction. And so like, and I understand he's got to approach things where he's like, as I did with the Coens, I am doing with Alien. I have to believe in myself. It's my shit.
It's true. You got to get those voices out of your head.
Now, I am only being a dickhead about this because I love Prometheus and Covenant and feel like somewhere in those movies is a map to the stars, is a fucking highway to heaven. We didn't quite get there, but it was really close. The on-ramp was visible.
Okay.
I'll allow it though.
All right.
I think that he was also like, isn't it kind of funny? Like in some of his conversations, I think he's sort of talked a little bit about like, if you sign up to do one of these jobs like these characters do, where they're just like, 60 years, everybody I know will be old or dead. I basically am getting ground down by a corporation anyway. These corporations own the world, et cetera, et cetera. You're not necessarily going to get the best and the brightest.
Okay.
And so that is supposed to go a long way, I think, to explaining why the science officer on the Maginot is eating a sandwich and drinking out of a water bottle when they're loosely conducting experiments on alien life forms.
Alien life forms that have already been established
are predators.
And suck all of the blood out of living beings.
Yeah. So you have to basically...
Yeah.
It's rare that you watch a science fiction show or movie and are like, these people aren't that good at their jobs.
They're not sending their best and their brightest.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, usually you're introduced to a cast of characters and you're just like, like the Marines they send in Aliens are the best Marines.
Yes.
And they get their asses kicked by the aliens, and it's only through the ingenuity of Ripley that, they quote unquote become victorious. But
yes,
watching this and watching the people on this ship, you're just kind of like, oh man.
I mean, again, there's also like...
That can be a frustrating thing to watch, is what I'm saying.
I found it frustrating to watch. I also think that, and again, in a vacuum, in space, I do admire this about Noah as a creator and as an auteur. He loves aesthetic choices, and that defines his work as a director as much as anything else. And I'm okay with that. Like, we like Wes Anderson. Like, I like people who make committed choices to an aesthetic. Yeah. And I think that the pieces of the alien mythos that were compelling to him, certainly visually, were a kind of, and I know there's a word for it, and I forget it. It's used to describe Star Wars as well. It's like a type of future, which is like a little bit busted.
Yes.
But that, taking some of the same technology or the appearance of technology that Ridley Scott used in the first Alien, like clunky keyboards or non-high def screens and like very like ham radio vibes. I like the continuation of that. I prefer that. I think it makes for visually interesting storytelling and kind of, sort of a surprise, makes you lean in instead of lean back kind of stuff, where it's like, oh, a very liberal smoking policy in the airlock of space on the ship.
But when they made the first Alien...
Yes, there was a liberal smoking policy anywhere.
People smoked literally everywhere.
On airplanes, so why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. I think that there were elements, though, that were challenging, one of which being, I think to your point, no one appears qualified for any of the jobs they have, including captain, sub-captain, security officer. Well, security officer seems decent.
He seems quite qualified.
But like medical officer, not because he's smoking, because, doctors used to endorse cigarettes.
Yeah.
More that when they are doing open torso surgery, no one thinks to put on a mask. Now, again, maybe this is our future, and the CDC no longer recommends that doctors wear masks. That's very possible. So maybe I should be thinking about it that way. But like, there's a series of required suspensions of disbelief that escalated, and I found challenging.
Some of which I thought Noah Hawley, who wrote and directed this episode, played for almost comic effect.
He did.
And
it's
so
intentional.
Clearly,
he knows what he's doing.
Chibuzzo, who is played by Karen Aldridge, who people may remember from Severance, and I believe Fargo, is the science officer. And her whole, like, I've left my Stanley jar, like my Stanley cup, like open, and I also have like a deli sandwich next to this eyeball, and I'm kind of just all over the place. And I also liked the light suggestion that they've been in space so long with these things that she's starting to develop like a camaraderie with some of the...
Yeah, for this amount of time, standards have definitely fallen a little bit.
But when it comes to, we just didn't notice that there wasn't a guy in the sleeping pod, which all seemed to be in the same room. I'm like, well, that just seems like plot mechanics.
Yes.
You're like, when they're like, oh, where's Petrovich? It's like, well, didn't you look?
Like, again, part of the challenge I'm finding there's two things. I think I should just call it. Like, if I was swept up in the human or emotional drama of this show, I don't know if I would be picking nits as specifically as I am. I'm not particularly engaged with the characters as we met so far, outside of Morrow, who I think is a great actor and a really interesting part.
Since this is very much a showcase episode for him and he gets to move around a lot more than, I was just like blown away by him again.
I continue to be most impressed by the thoughtful structure and scaffolding of the show and the season. I don't even think I've mentioned that I just think that the way that the show communicates previously on within the framework is awesome.
It's so stylish.
It's stylish, it's thoughtful, it's fresh. Doing the structure of like a mini episode of Alien in the first two episodes and then a step back and then doing Alien as a flashback here, I thought that was just very clever architecture, especially for the way we watch TV now. That said, I want to know your opinions as the alienologist. This was Noah making an Alien movie. He took an hour to do it, which is shorter than most movies, but got us from A to absolute destruction and Z at the end. What did it do right? What, in terms of like honoring the things that you like about these movies, what did it do freshly or differently in the sense that all people who have directed an Alien movie get their chance to say what's interesting to them? And what do you feel like it did wrong within its hour-long framework?
Yeah, I think that he, first of all, and it, you could also ascribe this to the past accomplishments of Ridley Scott and James Cameron and H.R. Geiger and the people who, all the screenwriters and writers who have worked on the first two Aliens, to honor and also iterate on the production design, the world, the feel of this ship, the feel of how it must be.
Yeah. The mother room. Love the mother room. The
mother room is awesome. Like the crowded bridge that they have.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Small details. You don't ever see a crowded spaceship.
Yeah, the dynamic of the of all of the remaining surviving shipmates who now are, for the most part, like Zaveri is the acting captain, but is also an exo who had been sleeping with the deceased captain.
No, I think she was sleeping with a science officer, Bronsky.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I think Bronsky Beat was named after him.
Oh, that's probably right.
Yeah.
They probably did do that. The Jeremy Bisping and Michael Smiley characters who are the mechanics, like kind of in the tradition of Harry Dean Stanton and Yaphet Kotto. I think ultimately though, and I actually I think they left some really good stuff on the table with Andy Yu, who was playing Tang, who is the sexually deviant navigator, who I think we were led to believe was a synthetic.
I thought that was the
but
implication.
Is apparently just a creep, and also is kind of like, what if you had a creeper in space?
Yeah.
In space, everyone can hear you creep.
Yep.
But ultimately, this is about Morrow, and this is about Cissie's performance again. And it was like, if that had been the series, if that had been the season, if it was like, this season is about getting to Earth, I would have been fascinated. And I think you could have done that, but you don't have Peter Pan, and you don't have Kirsch, and you don't have Boy Cavalier, except for being on TV. I just think this is like the action in this episode is quite good. The alien behavior is new.
I want to ask you about that. Let's circle back to that.
There's a lot of interesting developments on that side, but I found it like suitably entertaining and thrilling. But it's really about Morrow for me. He's a character that I have not seen in this world before, and he is just deeply fascinating.
Yeah, and I think it's a shame that just something it was like a throwaway reference in what you were saying, and it feels a little bit throwaway within the series, that this is a guy who had a family, and to get a paycheck said goodbye to them forever, but then with a forever he didn't even anticipate, with the message that his daughter has died.
And I don't mind that, and I did think it was like humanizing for him, but I actually find the other part of his motivation more interesting.
Yeah, I'm saying I found it interesting, but I also found it almost a shame that it's just like a little bit of scribbled backstory to fill in. It's like anytime a character is sitting alone looking at photographs, like, okay, that's shorthand to give us some sort of emotional thing. Like,
yeah.
I'm not pretending that like I would be, like, people are not above it. That is a hallmark of visual storytelling. But there is so much in the decisions of this one character to change his body, to give up his family, to become essentially a Ronin for capitalism.
And that's the thing that fascinates me, is that in a world where 4 or 5 corporations are running the planet, the CEOs of those corporations become gods, and the people become religious fanatics.
That's
and
fascinating.
So the idea that Morrow would be like, I have no family, your mother rescued me as a palsied beggar and turned me into like a gladiator, essentially. My sword goes to her and to this family and to this mission. And then that's what's guiding all of his decisions on that spaceship is, Risha Morjani's character is like, well, we have to like save this person and save that person. He's like, the only thing I'm saving is the specimens.
Yeah, I find
that's the only thing I care about is the cargo.
It is, I don't want to come off being like, it is a sin that the show's biggest problem through 5 episodes is that it has too many good ideas.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool.
I think that we are experiencing, and we should check ourselves that like 3 episodes to go, potentially future seasons, it's too soon to say, oh, Noah's not interested in that, or the powers that be wanted more of an alien show, and then he wanted his show, and then this third part.
This is way more alien than I thought it was going to be.
Ultimately, I think that too. So I do want to ask about some of the alien behavior. Let's start with our friend, the newly hatched Xenomorph in this episode. What's its motivation? Now, I don't mean
one
like
running around.
Yeah, the one. First of all, it's very human. Like clearly, like someone in a suit, which is interesting.
Yeah, and each movie takes. There are people who are keepers of the flame about like alien behaviors way more so than I ever could be. Each filmmaker brings a different interpretation to alien movement and alien behavior. So Fincher's aliens are way different than Ridley Scott's, are way different than James Cameron's, are different than Fede Alvarez, et cetera, et cetera.
But do any of them do what the alien did in this one, which is corner in a dramatic way? What's her name? Zaveri.
Zaveri, yeah.
And then trip her, I guess, to make it more fun and sporting. That felt like Predator behavior.
Right. That alien kills. Like they don't. I think that alien could drag Zaveri back and make it part of like a big alien honeycomb breeding thing, which
that's fun.
They do in Aliens and stuff like that. But there is usually it doesn't really matter. I mean, I did find it playing with its food a little bit.
Yes,
was strange. Yes, but then the eyeball also seems to.
Well, so the eyeball is maybe the hero of the show?
Yeah, it's like people have compared him to Baby Yoda.
The eyeball is just like...
Many people are saying.
Hey, the blood bugs are out. Like, I thought that was pretty sporting of it.
I suppose we're supposed to interpret that as there is alien on alien beef. And
yeah,
they're not working in concert with each other, but rather like, no, I want it. And the eye needs a live host. Yeah. Right? Like it gets in and then it's like, I keep you alive.
Sort of.
And control you a little bit.
Meat puppet, if you will.
Yeah.
I thought that was I thought maybe it had developed a fondness for our unhygienic science officer in that moment. Kudos to Noah and his team for really mining a lot of effective nightmare fuel.
Yes.
But
it's good to take the scariest possible thing, which is an eyeball that is an alien that jumps into your eye socket, and make it cute.
That wasn't the worst thing.
What was the worst thing?
The blood bugs that vomit baby blood bugs into your water bottle.
You never have a problem with?
Yeah.
Is if you just drink Aquafina and you unseal it and it's like, I can see.
I wanted to talk about that.
There are no blood bugs in here.
Nothing in here. Nothing in here.
Not even any nutrients.
No, it's literally nothing. There are microplastics swimming around, but you're good. You're good for another 10 years at least. Yeah, that was horrifying. It's horrifying.
You're a water bottle guy, right?
I got one right here.
Do you ever just take a peek in before you take a sip?
Now, here's the thing. I either have to choose to do that every time or never do it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no middle ground here. You drive yourself mental.
I liked the fact that it wasn't, I love it when somebody is like, you think it's going to be this disgusting thing, but it's going to be much grosser.
Yes, it's going to be much worse.
I thought she was going to like take a drink and the thing was going to go in, and instead it spooged in her water and then left.
Yeah, it was like, my work here is done. I feel like I need to be more attentive. Like, I feel like this was instructive for me because recently, it's heat wave here in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And the bugs come out, like flies and stuff flying in the house. And my younger daughter screamed and then breathlessly reported to me with like Toledo truth teller levels of detail about a fly had landed on my toothbrush. And she was like so revolted by this. And I guess I'm worried that my first response wasn't as strong as hers. I'm maybe a little bit like, these kids toughen up when they go on the New York City subway and touch the pole. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I did get rid of the toothbrush. Where's the camera?
Did you really?
I did, but then I kind of felt like...
Wash it in hot water?
But she was like... I just felt like there were market forces in the house, that I just couldn't avoid it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I still feel like with your younger kid especially...
Yeah.
You're still in that zone where you can just lie.
Oh,
yeah, and you could just be like, that's a friendly fly.
Yeah, but then I felt like that is... Because one thing you have to do, there's a I believe this is where the term double consciousness comes from.
Okay.
I want to be parenting in the moment, but I'm also always checking for the things that are going to come up in therapy later. And they're like...
Therapy or yours?
Great question, buddy. No, that like at some point they'll be like, "How did you feel about your father?" They'll be like, "He was a decent man with some wrong opinions that he was not afraid to share with the world. And he was foul and unclean because one time a fly sat on his toothbrush. So I had to like just take that off the board."
I remember there was this one time my wife and I were in Maui. In Hawaii.
This is a relatable story already. Go on.
It was our first trip we had made after moving to Los Angeles, and we went to Maui, and then we did the road to Hana.
Oh, sure. It's a long road.
It is. Very stressful for a marriage. And we got to Hana.
Were you driving?
Yeah, I drove.
Oh, brother.
And a lot of slower. And we got there and had dinner or whatever, and she went to sleep. And like at some point in the night, I like turned a lamp on to find something, and when I looked up,
oh no,
there was just like an array of Olympic athlete bugs on the ceiling.
They were just like,
yeah, but like not like a fly. It was just like a beetle the size of
Did they all
Lawrence
stop?
Taylor.
Were they like, maybe you won't notice me?
And I decided
did you say they were like Lawrence Taylor?
Yeah, and I was like looking at it. They were looking at me.
Yeah,
and I was just like, we're just gonna turn the light off.
Yes,
and we're not going to tell her for sure, for days.
And she won't listen to this podcast, so you're safe.
I know. But it's like sometimes you just have to pretend like it didn't happen.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
What's the harm? I mean, I guess the engineering crew of the Maginot found out what the harm was. So there's a line. But, we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
But we all have to live our lives. You can't respond to everything.
Do you think Zaveri brought the dirt from Utah with her expressly for the purpose that if she hooked up with a guy and he died, she'd pour it on his corpse? Or
good question.
Do you think it was just like, hey, a little bit about me, I'm from Utah, this dirt's great?
I think a little thing about me, I carry a fisherman's tackle box with 50 vials of dirt from all of the Wayland-Yutani states. And which state are you from, future paramour? And it's like, Utah. She's like, okay.
Or maybe he gave that to her and he was like, when we get back, we're going to move to Zion, So
please just hold this dirt for me in case I die violently in front of you.
Yeah.
It is thoughtful, in terms of its planning.
Yeah.
I thought it's a very sometimes leaders meet the moment. You know what I mean? And other times I feel like they don't.
Yeah, she was not quite Denzel Washington in Crimson Tide, as exos go.
She was not ready. She was not ready for prime time.
The last scene of this episode is Morrow meeting with the Yutani heiress, or the current CEO of Yutani, and she's convinced by his passion. And she's just like, give this guy whatever he wants to go recover the specimens and fuck Boy Cavalier up.
Yeah.
And whatever else.
I mean, this has gone fast. There are only 3 episodes left.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed this. I think we obviously have our critiques of it, but I'm not sure how popular this is. It seems like it's a really big show. I mean, I know that there was the release statistic that 9 million people over 6 days watched the first episode, and I assume it's continued somewhat apace to that, but it does feel like it's been a success.
This is one of those things where, it does feel like that the only ways we really, really know how successful something is for the larger the parent company of the streaming service in which it is on, it's either if it is a out-of-the-box shock, like The Bear season 1, being like, oh, this is just undeniably everywhere and we didn't expect anything, so now we're crowing about it.
And everybody's like, yes, chef.
I'm just keeping things in the FX world then. The other example of that would be Shogun, where they went all in, it was hugely expensive, and then clearly they were justified for it, so they couldn't stop bragging about it. Something like this is fascinating to me, and I would love to get under the hood and actually know. First of all, what makes this successful to the Walt Disney Company is unknowable to us, in terms of market penetration or awareness or brand management or the relationships with the Thai tax board or whatever else they're trying to keep happy. Creatively, they seem happy with it. Noah's someone they've been in a relationship with for a long time. I think they're very happy with the reviews, and they're certainly we'll have a big podcast when the show is over, but the way that it's structured, if you think about it, this was a huge episode and there are 3 left, and everything that's left on the board feels enormous in terms of things breaking out, things breaking in.
Well, it's got such good, and honestly, to Noah Hawley's credit, with Fargo, he always gets to end it at the end of the season, and he can burn his ships.
Burn the boats.
Here, assuming this has got a multi-season arc in his head, and he's talked about it, that is the case, this is going to be a lot more about putting chess pieces in place for the future. And I think that it has a lot of potential. And I'm also really impressed with the fact that, like, for as much as I enjoyed, like what is the timeline of Yutani, reading about that stuff on like Alien Wikipedia, I didn't really think that somebody was going to be able to pull this off. Yeah. And he has done so by, yes, like serving you some of the flavors that you're used to, like basically giving us 3 hours of Alien movie in the opening episode, the second episode, and now this 5th episode, but also obviously delving into a lot of his own real fascinations. And even when I'm not fascinated by what he's fascinated by, I kind of respect the move.
Totally. And I just think it's interesting the way it is unknowable how these larger companies are considering the projects they invest heavily in, and what timeline they're looking at. Like, I think we are used to covering on a podcast twice a week basis the sort of shock turns, like, oh, Shogun, they're going to submit it as an ongoing series. They're going to throw more money at it and find more story. Like, how lucky they had this. These corporations and networks and streaming services, I mean, they are scheduled.
I honestly thought you were talking about the corporations in the Alien universe.
Oh, well, we're not there yet, but you could probably find the way Scheinhardt Wig Company becomes.
Yutani.
They are already programmed through 27. Like, they know what's going to be on through 27. They are thinking about 28. They are also conversations that are just almost abstract to us. Like, within FX, they might be getting around a table and being like, well, we have, part of our mandate is to do things with the IP that we're allowed to play with. Part of our mandate is to have a quote unquote big show, or 1 or 2 big shows that can compete at the Emmys with the attention economy, win Reddit or whatever. What is more valuable to them? To greenlight another $300 million for season 2 of Alien Earth, or to potentially set on fire $300 to $500 million, starting another one from scratch?
Yeah.
I don't actually know how those conversations go, but I find it interesting. And so I think we were having a text about, like, well, how many people are watching this show? What is its market penetration or whatever? Not because that affects how we feel about it, but I'm curious. I think it's unknowable. I don't know what the return on investment is. I think all we could say is this show is working. Even though I'm not in love with it. I found this one tough to watch because I have a water bottle. but there's stuff here.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff there. Did you want to talk at all about Caught Stealing?
Yeah, we went to the movies.
Yeah, well, separately.
Why do you keep saying that? Are you worried that people think we spend too much time together?
No, but I just was like, you independent of me.
Yes.
Went to see Caught Stealing instead of Weapons, which is fine. I have my outlet for Weapons coming soon on the big picture.
And then we went to dinner.
Yes.
Can we say that we went to dinner together?
Yeah.
Or because I feel like you're kind of like reclaiming your space. That's fine. It was a long weekend. Usually we do take time off from each other.
I just don't want people to know I go to Asian Hooters that much.
And then at dinner, I was like, yeah, it was good. And then you were like, yeah, I don't know, maybe we'll go see it. You were playing a little coy, but you saw it.
Yeah,
I
did see it.
both saw the film Caught Stealing.
Now, there's no way to talk about this movie without having a spoiler discussion. So if you haven't seen Caught Stealing, Andy and I both recommend it. It's a really, honestly pretty fun movie. And especially if you like the kind of stuff that Andy and I like, detective-y, urban fiction, you'll enjoy it.
Before spoilers kick in,
it's also set in 1998 in New York City, which is, you're speaking my language.
Weirdly, not enough coverage of the internship crew at Matador Records that summer. I feel like there was a moment when there could have been some little overlap there. I don't think I would have survived, but then really no one does. No, just that what I found really charming about seeing this movie was that it was just a fucking movie. Like, this is what we talk about that they've taken from us in a way. It's Charlie Huston, a great crime novelist, adapting his own book. Darren Aronofsky, a great director who historically does not make the most crowd-friendly stuff, or at least the most fun stuff, having fun. And
for a while, yeah.
You mean in the movie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's dark, but it has a vibrancy and lightness of spirit and tone.
Yes.
That I wish there were more. I just wish there were movies like this. I wish that it was more successful counter-programming than it seems to have been, because this is a pleasing movie experience.
Yeah, and I think that it does a convincing, if not note perfect job of recreating a time and a place that is obviously very close to our hearts, but also just great music, great hangs, like
great cat,
people chilling in a bar, a cat, yeah, and a good kind of. It reminded me of the post-pulp run of indie or studio indie crime movies where it was like a bag of money and all these different criminals. And then, people have compared it to Snatch or to Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. I think that what's different about this movie, and this is where we kind of get into spoilers if you want, but, there's this Charlie Houston novel, which I haven't read, so I don't know how faithful it is.
And it's the first of a trilogy.
And it's the first of a trilogy. And for people who don't know, this movie is about a guy named Hank, who is an ex-baseball player living in New York City, bartending, kind of more or less wasting his life, like staying out real late, drinking beers all day. He's got just basically the hottest girlfriend that's ever existed, which is Zoe Kravitz as a paramedic.
Can I just like, as someone who was quite vocal about the ending of Twisters, can I say like having a movie with hot actors who like have sex with each other and are into it, like that's good for the culture.
So it is a very, very, very fun fucking movie for like an hour, and you're like, I just want to like live in this.
Mm-hmm. We did. To a degree.
And then the Zoe Kravitz character gets killed.
As does everyone eventually.
Yes, almost everyone, yeah. And I think that this is an example of, I understand how it would make sense in a book, and I understand how it makes sense in a page. And I even understand when Darren Aronofsky's like, here we go, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. It's going to make sense in the movie. But then when you get 5 scenes of Austin Butler and Zoe Kravitz,
you want more.
Well, it would just turn me into John Wick if she was taken from me.
It kind of works that way. It
kind of does. It is kind of like, what if John Wick was just a bartender and not like actually a superhuman? I get it, but like the tone of the film remains a little bit probably more buoyant than I would expect.
Yeah,
after her demise.
I think. I mean, you could flip it the other way and say like, this is an example of excellent casting,
absolutely
pushing something into a stratosphere that it didn't necessarily expect to be. Like the emotional heaviness of that lingers. Her absence is felt. The gravitational pull shifts. Like, I think these are good problems when you cast everything. And this is cast. It's insane. The people that are playing these roles. Like, by the way, give me more funny Liev Schreiber, please. Like, shout out Day Trippers. Like, this dude actually is funny, but usually... By the way, are you aware that Liev Schreiber's internet presence is entirely like talking about Ukraine and then also promoting a whiskey that he's the owner of? It was just not an online presence that I expected for Ray Donovan. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, oh, okay, he's keeping busy. And by the way, for the record, I'm objectively pro-Ukraine and pro-whiskey. So I'm not picking a fight here.
No, I know. But it's funny when somebody is like, I have 2 passion projects.
And here they are on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Anyway, the casting across the board is excellent, and it lifts the entire thing. Just like the direction is excellent, because this guy really knows how to direct a film, and it is vibrant, it's fun, and there's like a what I imagine to be a drone shot like along the backs of the buildings in the Lower East Side when he's sneaking in on the fire escape.
That's an awesome sequence,
it's a beautiful shot, and it's just all better than it needed to be. And I kind of miss that, the sort of the elevated B movie into a B+. I think that's
exactly what it is, yeah.
I think that it's a good sign that the movie had the thing at all that it loses when she goes off the board.
Yeah.
And then, like Matt Smith, again, is just really taking advantage of his moment of being like, oh, that's a guy who's good at stuff and playing characters and doing things. And everything is a little bit better than it should have been. Like the good English band Idols does the soundtrack. And it's like Griffin Dunn playing the bar owner.
Yeah.
All these small details added up to something that I just found entirely delightful.
I highly recommend it. Sorry for spoiling it if you listened through this to get to the fact that we're recommending it, but...
This is just classic podcasting by us. I did not, I don't know, maybe something's shifting in me. Because like both The Paper and Caught Stealing, I'm like, yeah, I loved them. I just had a great experience. I like liking things. It's fun.
I know you do. And I think there was nothing about Caught Stealing that I was like, I don't like this. It was really more of a like, I don't know if the second half of the movie pays for the first half of the movie.
Because you were super in on the first half of the movie.
Yeah, I really was.
I mean, it's also just a nature of, I don't need to tell you about how movies work. You know them much better than I do. But like, they were committed. You know, it is not. It's an example of like chemistry sparking or something working that in a TV show you can then write towards. But in a movie, you're like, this. We've already left the station. We're rolling.
I just wanted those two crazy kids to make it work. You know.
Talk to me just before we go. Give me your pitch for Austin Butler leading man. Are you pro?
Well, the number one thing about him is he has great taste. Or somebody who is his manager or agent has great taste, because I think that he's gone about his career in a really, really good way where he's working with really interesting filmmakers. He's taking a variety of different kinds of parts. I don't know what his range is as of yet, like whether he's in Bike Riders or Caught Stealing or Masters of the Air. He looks the same. He largely acts the same. Yeah. You know, like he's Austin Butler. You could say that is the sign of a movie star, that Robert Redford is Robert Redford, whether he's in The Candidate, Downhill Racer, or 3 Days of the Condor. And that's very effective for him. I haven't quite gotten there yet with him, like, as an emotional kind of...
We're in the same place.
Being, but I do think he's cool. And I do think he's funny. And I do think he's a convincing person in an action set piece. But I think something is like he's hiding something a little bit. Not hiding something like...
He hasn't given it. He hasn't revealed it.
Put Austin Butler in a congressional hearing.
Put Austin Butler
what
on
are you hiding, Austin
Put
Butler?
him at the CDC. He's cool, hot, has good taste. And this movie is so perfect for someone in the place he is in his career. It doesn't work.
I know how to have fun. That's what he said.
It doesn't work if he's not charismatic, if he's not the star that this whole carousel of broad characters. And the characters are broad. I mean, like the Bad Bunny character, Action Bronson. Like there's a lot of big acting. Vince D'Onofrio, Liev Schreiber. It's big, swirling around him. It works with that actor in the middle of it. You said it better than I could. I keep looking at him being like, well, what's there? It's not bad. And there are, very successful careers of people who don't have other layers because this layer is enough. But I don't quite see it yet. But it worked for this. This was a perfect movie for him.
And if anything, I am interested in checking out the other books in the series by Charlie Huston.
Charlie Huston is a great writer who deserves more of our time. He had a book last year called Catch Penny that I recommend incredibly, incredibly highly. He's a phenomenal and cool writer, and a little cameo in this movie. Yeah. And I believe he is a Giants fan, which is
evident by the film. All right, everybody, thank you for listening. We'll be back on Monday, believe it or not, and we are going to be talking Task episode 1.
Are we going to redecorate next week? We haven't really.
We have to start just bringing stuff in from... It's not like my wife would love for me to get some shit out of the house. So maybe we should just start bringing books in and stacking them.
I'd like to see, could we just get a corporate card and buy everything again?
Buy what again? Oh, all the shit that we own? I'll ask Bill.
I mean, to be fair, every few years he goes shopping for a new studio.
To be fair, his show is 100 times bigger than ours.
That's it? It's only 100 times bigger? What happened? Are numbers up?
I don't know. I'm just throwing out a ballpark figure. I think Bill's show commands a slightly larger capital investment.
Do you think that would be the case if we just shifted to all Eagle stock? And by the Eagle stock, I mean Don Henley, Joe Walsh.
It doesn't make me wonder whether we should do like our Thursday show to just be guess the lines, but for the next episode of Task.
That's fair. You will have to explain gambling to me.
Okay. Thanks to Kai. Thanks to John. Thank you to our listeners. We'll be back on Monday with Task. Please watch it on Sunday night.
Go Birds, Baranskis.